First one here, Amazon's Prime Big Deals Days, an exclusive shopping event for Prime members, is set for October. So this is the second time that they're doing the Prime Big Deal Days. So this is in addition to Black Friday and Christmas and regular Prime shopping events and such. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, we need to prepare for any kind of event on Amazon, make sure we've got stock and everything else. But at the same time, I always worry about, deal fatigue and event fatigue from people and such. So what are your thoughts, Danon, on another Prime Big Deal Day?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think it's going to be good because anytime that you get these surges in sales, right? But I do wonder the same thing. Like, is it going to get to the point where someone goes, I'll just buy it next month when they do run a lightning deal or something like that? As the shoppers get more sophisticated and keeping in track of what's going on and what Amazon has planned, I'll just leave it in my wish list, and when that day comes, I'll look at the prices then and then buy at that time. That being said, there's no shortage of Amazon buyers. So, I think it'll always be good. They could probably do some like a Prime Day every single month, and it would probably still have a huge boost in sales if you are approved for it and all that stuff. I think that's what I think about it.
Yeah, for sure. Jackson, you manage some rather big private label accounts. So what do you guys see on these Prime days and all the different events that Amazon's doing now?
Yeah, my view is that it's kind of just a big double-edged sword because and there's some interesting sides of it to think about too. But if you're in the ad space, it's kind of annoying. It's like good and bad in one way or another. Because if you're an agency doing ad work, then this is just another annoying thing to have to adapt to that kind of gives you job security. Where, whenever the deal is about to happen, you have to kind of pull things back so you're not just overspending on a bunch of window shopping. Then you have to tilt things back up when the deal goes on. And then there's this hangover afterwards that you have to kind of pull back for. So it's really disruptive to having campaigns that are just in a really good kind of set and forget status. You can't do that anymore. You have to be prepared for this. And then I think the more nefarious side is October is when your Q4 storage fees kick in, and it's like,
good point.
I know seasonally speaking, it's different for every store, but my experience has been October is never a great month. It's kind of like the February of the other side of the year. And so it's almost in my mind sort of like Amazon forcing sellers to load up their inventory, justifying it by this, Prime Day deal coming in. And, there is just sales fatigue when you're manufacturing too many kind of consumer holidays. I think we'll see how this goes, right? Like, I think you're right, Danon, that it always ends up being like a good day, but it's a, I don't know if there's enough data out yet with only one happening, if it's just cannibalizing the before and after to some degree, and maybe you get a little bit more sales overall, but everybody's discounting so much, does it just end up being a wash, so it's interesting, you know what I mean? Just we got to play the game and roll with it.
I want to ask you a little bit more about the ads aspect of it. So, because I don't run ads on my store, and I'm no ads expert myself, but so you see an increase in clicks, but a decrease in conversion rate during these times?
In the lead up, yes, because basically this is part of the reason why Amazon keeps it a secret for as long as they sort of can, because as soon as psychologically someone knows there's a big deal day coming up, then something they might buy that's sort of a big ticket, medium ticket purchase, all of a sudden you're basically psychologically telling all these people, don't buy now, stop shopping now, right? And anybody who's impatient might become patient, right? Once you tell them that information. So it's kind of bad for consumerist incentives when you give them 3 months or 2 months warning that there's a big sale coming up, and they're like, oh, I can hold off on buying that stereo or whatever it might be that they're talking about. Right? So it's this annoying thing because everybody's kind of waiting to adapt psychologically. It's sort of like social engineering almost in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely see it. Like in my business, at a minimum the week before, you see sales kind of level off and start trending downwards, and then you get the big spike for the Prime days, the 1 or 2 days that happens, and then the week following is lower than normal. So it kind of just compresses 2 or 3 weeks of sales into those 2 days more than anything, unless you're doing, really hardcore discounting and promotions and things like that. Then yes, you can see big jumps, from 30,000 to 300,000 in sales or something like that. But for just the normal person not doing a whole lot of those types of promotions and brand building, it's just kind of stealing sales from one day to put them in another.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of annoying because, like I'm saying, like to sort of mitigate what Todd just described, you have to pre-discount, right? Because conversion goes down, people waiting for discounts. So you have to sort of discount early to try and get them to buy before the deal day.
Okay.
Then the deal day comes and you have to discount heavy to compete with all the discounting competitors on the discount days. And then when all the hype trails off, you have to post discount to make the people who missed the discount want to buy right away because they're getting an after discount. So it's basically just a discount fest.
Yeah.
And you have to,
you just made me feel better because I've never run a Prime Day deal. I've never run a Lightning deal. My sales stay, I would say, steady all year round.
Yeah. Well, you're in the supplement space, right?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. If you run out of supplements, you're not going to be like, oh, there's a Prime Big Deal Day in October, I won't buy any this month. You're
exactly. Yeah.
You're going to get the supplements.
Yeah.
You're a little more immune to that versus somebody buying a TV or a stereo or something like that. Or
a tractor.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll wait for the Prime Day deal on the tractor.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to be interesting, though. A couple things that are interesting to me. Number one, it's in October, and the deadline for having your stock in for Black Friday and be assured that it's going to be received in is October 10th. So now you got to figure this Prime Big Deals Day into your inventory to make sure that you're going to be able to have inventory for Prime Big Deals Days plus Black Friday all in there by October 10th, assuming they're going to do it after October 10th would be my guess, because they're going to want to have all that inventory in there for it. So I would think it's probably going to be the 3rd or 4th week of October when they do it.
And if anything goes wrong and you don't make a bunch of sales, you pay out the wazoo on storage fees.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you really got to be on your inventory game right now to make sure that you're not running out of stock, but then also not putting in there too much, obviously. Yeah. So it's going to be a difficult balancing act to figure that out perfectly.
From the seller's vantage point, you could almost rename it Prime Lower Profits Days.
There you go. Yeah, for sure.
PLPD.
We're talking about the success of these events, but the last just Prime Day that they did, I seen the numbers, and supposedly they sold about $14.7 billion on those 2 days, which is a record number, I guess. I'm sure it's not factoring in, inflation. If you factor in inflation, that real number is more like 12 billion or something like that.
But
the numbers keep going up and sales keep going up. So, they seem to work for for people out there to get more sales and push more sales anyways.